By what authority do you do these things? Who gave you this authority to come into the temple that was built for the Most High? They say to Yahusha, by what authority are you doing these things? Are you conducting these teachings? Make no mistake, the Pharisees, the hypocrites and the liars, the scribes of the time that infested the holy place of Yahuwah, his temple, with their hypocrisy and their facade and their contrivance as so-called keepers of the gate. And they come to Yahusha because Yahusha was teaching the people in the temple. And his teachings, his words, his parables, his stories were astounding. The people were astonished by how profound Yahusha's words were. How could they not be? For he was Yahuwah manifested in the flesh. Yahuwah, the Most High, the Supreme Elohim. He who creates, he who breathes life, he who brings into existence, manifested in the flesh as Yahusha, the Most High, who saves. The meaning of the word, the Most High, who delivers, the Most High, who redeems. There in the temple, teaching the people. And the day before, he had come in there and he wrecked the place of the thieves and the robbers and the marketers that had set up shop in the set-apart place, changing money, selling doves. He turned the tables over. He chased them out, telling them, how dare you defile my Father's place? For you have turned it into a den of thieves. This sanctified place you have turned into a den of thieves. He chased them out. And the next day he comes back and he's teaching. And the people are absolutely blown away by the glory, the beauty, the majesty, the profoundness of Yahusha's teaching. And you know, after the day before, these Pharisees, these so-called keepers of the gate, who supposedly held the keys to any connection with the Father. They conspired, they plotted, and they planned on how to destroy Yahusha because they feared him, because he was a threat to their power as the ordained ones. And that's what they held over the people, right? They were dressed as authorities. They held themselves on pedestals like commanders. They dictated the edicts of the laws of Moses, of the laws of man, of the traditions, the rules and regulations, such that they held authority. So they come to Yahusha and they say, the next day when he's teaching, they come up to him and they say, by what authority do you do these things? Do you teach the people? Do you chase out those who peddle their goods and have turned this place into a market? This place, how dare they? Place built to connect with the Most High, to hear the commandments, to hear the teachings. And Yahusha says to them, I will tell you by whose authority I do these things if you answer a question. And the question he gives these hypocrites, these lying scribes and Pharisees who worship with their lips but not with their hearts, he says, where did the immersion of Yohanan, John the Baptist, Yohanan, where did the immersion of Yohanan come from? Did it come from heaven or did it come from men? The authority to baptize, did that come from Yahuwah or did it come from man? Did it come from him? Did it come from the Pharisees? Where did his authority come? Where did Yohanan's authority come from? And so immediately the Pharisees start to reason amongst themselves, right? Because they can't just give an answer. No, they have to contrive, they have to connive, they have to rationalize and parse every word they're about to say, as they did all the time when they were trying to trip up Yahusha, because they interrogated Yahusha constantly to see if they could trip him up. Not to, you would think, here comes Hamashiach. Everyone knows the Messiah is here. The people know. The people are flocking to him. Everyone sees, not just the people, but the Pharisees, the scribes, the Sadducees. They all see the Sanhedrin. They all know of his miracles that he's performing. Giving the blind back their sight, giving the deaf back their hearing, giving the paralyzed back their movement, casting out demons that have overtaken the people. They see it all. Raising the dead. They see it all. And they know, but they constantly seek to trip him up in front of the people to delegitimize Yahusha as if they ever could. And so in trying to answer his question, as par for the course, as is their nature, they start to look for the traps because they're filled with traps. They're filled with contrivance. They're constantly seeking to discredit Yahusha with trick questions that will ensnare him. And so when Yahusha gives them a simple question, they immediately think, what is the trap? How will they be confounded here? And so they start to reason amongst themselves that if they were to say that Yohanan, the immerser, John the Baptist, if they say his authority came from heaven, that if his authority came from the Most High, if Yohanan's authority came from Yahuwah to immerse, then the answer will obviously be, well, why didn't you believe him? Why did you condemn him? Why was he taken away and locked up and beheaded? But if they were to say his authority came from man, they feared the ire of the people, for the people knew that Yohanan was a prophet. They knew. And so if these lying Pharisees would dare say, from man and not from the Most High, not from heaven, they would have a revolt on their hands. So what did they say? These hypocrites give the most diplomatic answer they can. They say, we don't know. And Yahusha knows that this is what they'll say. So Yahusha says, well, then I shall not tell you by what authority I do these things. For you do not need authority to understand the word. Yahusha, Yahuwah manifested in the flesh, does not need the blessings of the Pharisees, the religious authorities, the Sanhedrin, the scribes, the wise ones, the holy men. He doesn't need to be given the green light by the Magi, by the Yogai, by the qualified ones, the so-called qualified ones, by the credentialed ones. He doesn't need that. He comes with the power and the glory of Yahuwah. And the people know it. And what authority, what rule, what regulation, what tradition gets in the way of us, of you, understanding the profound and the simplicity of Yahusha's message. This is what absolutely wrecked the hypocritical holy ones and wise ones. This is what wrecked them. Although they held the esteem of man, they held not the glory of the Most High, for they were just men, posing as shepherds, posing as gatekeepers. There is no way to the Father except through the Son, except through Yahusha and his salvation and his word, the way, the truth, and the life. The profoundness and simplicity of his message was such that it was a threat because it absolutely dissolved and obliterated the rule and the authority of the Pharisees and the scribes, who lorded their positions over the men and the women and the families of the time, such that all those who wanted to find their way to Yahuwah, that wanted to find a way to connect with Yahuwah, that they should show up and follow the rules, regulations, traditions that the hypocrites, that the Pharisees had piled on top of the simple commandments that would allow you to prosper, that would allow you to find favor with the Most High, that would please Yahuwah. That's why the wise ones of this world, the holy ones of this world, the authorities of this world, they want to make everything intricate, complex, complicated, comprehensive. Because in doing so, you need them. And this is exactly why the religious authorities of their time feared Yahuwah. It's why he was a threat to them. It's why they murdered him. Because he absolutely obliterated, dissolved, disintegrated any credibility that they had with his simple message And that was to love Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, to love your fellow man as you love yourself. And from that one key, from that one commandment, from that one solution, all the good things spring. It becomes a wellspring of epiphanies and of revelations as you meditate on that, as you contemplate that, as you ruminate on that. All of the mysteries are unlocked. All of the understandings are received. All of the wisdom and knowledge and discernment that you could ever handle and more comes from within that revelation. To love Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your fellow man as you love yourself. All answers can be found in that. It multiplies. It is layered. It develops. It matures. It blossoms within you. And every single day in understanding it and contemplating and nourishing your heart, soul, and spirit with his words, with his parables, with his stories. And even if you were to just ruminate and always go back to that simple commandment to love Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, love your fellow man as you love yourself, you would receive everything that you ever needed and more, such that your cup would runneth over, such that you couldn't handle all of that, all that you will receive. You'd be spreading the good news. You'd be shouting from the rooftops. You'd be paying it